What's going on, my beautiful peoples? Welcome to Just Words Nobody Cares. I'm your host, Ron Kane. I'm also joined by co-host Dre Drizzo and the Honorable Lovely Haydee. On this episode, special shout out to our guest that made the trip from all the way deep Brooklyn. I'm sure by the time she made it here, she was like, the fuck am I doing? These people only have like 100 followers. It's okay. It's okay. She's a super accomplished comedian that has a dope podcast called Go Touch Grass.
Hi, I'm Elise Morales.
And I'm Milly Tamarez.
And this is Go Touch Grass, the podcast where we log in
so you can log off.
Our conversations got so deep, talking about the vulnerabilities it takes to be a creative, the challenges of overcoming resistance. It was legit all over the place. And in full transparency, there were moments that I wasn't sure the jokes were jokes. Shit got real.
Everything that I'm doing is constantly met with resistance, with hate, with this and that, and I still gotta keep going. And you're talking shit about me. You wanna fucking be a comedian? You wanna go fucking embarrass you? Yeah. Go have a Nicaraguan guy check his WhatsApp while you're trying to tell the story about you lost your virginity in Spanish. Go do it. Be my guest. Be my guest.
Damn. It's not easy. I felt that shit. Jesus. Whoa. Yeah, I hear you.
But I was beyond grateful she felt comfortable opening up and discussing a variety of topics. I hope you guys enjoy this episode with our special guest, Milly Tamarez. Thank you.
Just words.
Before we continue, today's guest, someone I had the privilege of seeing their work very recently at Pregones Theater. You were the director of a comedy sketch show that was, I guess, hosted by Mike and Jamie? Or,
Yeah.
Because did it have an official title, or...?
I guess they used to be in a bunch of sketch groups together, and they used to do a lot of videos and stuff, and they wanted to like reunite. But I guess it's basically Mike and Jamie.
Okay,
like, I think that's the
Mike and Jamie
that's
show.
But you know, it's This Is We Now was the name of the show.
Oh,
and
This Is We Now.
Yeah, but it was like a ragtag group of a bunch of people. It's kind of like the Avengers, you know. Like a bunch of people.
It.
Yeah,
It was pretty dope.
Oh yeah. Because you look familiar. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've seen you. Yeah. So it was fun. Yeah, I directed that. That was cool. No one can get me to direct anymore except for Mike. Because Mike, I owe him. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Because it's like it's so much work directing. You really need and like it's one of those things. It's like if you ask a woman who has a lot of kids, you know, it's like there's this dread before they give birth to the second one because they know the pain that they endured with the first one. You know what I mean? Like when you have a kid and when you're about to give birth, you don't know any of the pain. You can like fantasize about it, and then you give birth to that first kid and you're like, fuck. So then like the whole 9 months, someone described it to me, the whole 9 months of the second kid, you're like, fuck, I gotta do this shit. I gotta give birth. Like it's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna like piss blood for months after. You know what I mean? You know what it takes to do it. Of course, at the end, you have this sweet child that's going to call you a bitch at 18 years. But you have this great outcome, but you know what it is. You know what the reality is. And that's how directing a show is.
Damn,
Oh wow! I mean,
painful
that's
as
not
fuck.
the first time I've heard that analogy described with me, like directing before. So I'm not surprised.
And you know, it's different as a woman. Blah blah blah. Yeah, like people try to test you. You know, people like you give notes and then you know sometimes a guy will be like, "What about this?" And it's like.
I give you a note for a reason.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you know, you want to be like flexible and you gotta
collaborative.
You gotta accommodate and all this shit, and it's just annoying. And then, you know, I really didn't even like. I kind of was in 1 or 2 sketches, maybe, but I really wasn't in that many. So you're just doing a lot of, and it's like just having a kid. Like you're doing all this work, and then, you know. People don't know how much work you put in it, like whatever. So it's like, it's not the most like
Rewarding?
Yeah, kind of in the long run, probably rewarding thing for me. So I don't do it often, but Mike has been so supportive of me. I did a one woman like I did my like kind of solo show. I did like it was kind of stand up hour, but I had a few sketches in it, and Mike was in it, and he's done it like a few times, so I'm like, okay, I owe him like, and he's tried to get me in to direct, and I was like, and so yeah.
Will there be a part 2?
After that whole fucking
I know, right?
You're just asking her to give birth again.
Will be another child on the way?
I feel like I would do it again. Now I'm like, okay, I would do it if it was like, because it was just one night and then whatever, but I'm like, I would do it if it was a run. Like, okay, I know I'm going to do this for every Saturday for 1 month or something, like a short run. So that like it's a little bit more, because it is nice and it is rewarding, and they sold out like that. So I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to like do it like 4 or 5 times, you know. Because yeah, it's like getting that first thing up.
Gotcha.
Because again, you're in charge of tech. You're in charge of rehearsals. I was editing the writing. I was, that was part of the because the director could mean a lot of things. I was like, everyone submit the sketches. Okay, let's read through. Okay, what is your feedback? Okay, here's my feedback. Go and write it again. Go and write it again. So we did like 3 or 4 drafts of each sketch, and then we got it on their feet. And then it was like getting the acting and like, okay, you're doing this too much,
Oh, wow.
And then lights, and then tech, and then sound cues, and you're like
sounds like a lot, yeah. That second child sounds like real bad right
so
now.
call your mom on fucking Dominican Mother's Day, on regular Mother's Day.
Oh, shit.
Well, that lovely voice that you just heard gives such lovely and wonderful explanations. The wonderful Milly Tamarez.
I know, Jesus.
I was like, wait, let me introduce you first.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up. Yeah, I mean,
I'm a comedian, not a mother.
There you go. Only call her to direct if it's going to be a long run.
Or if it's, also, like if it's making good money, because that's the thing too. Like if I'm making a bunch of money, that's different. But it was a labor of love for that.
Yeah.
So
You're like, the love is running out.
yeah, the love is running out. Obviously, if I'm making a real director's salary, then okay, that's different. But I wasn't, so yes.
Bring the bag.
do you give yourself notes when you're doing your own stand-up comedy? Like, do you put on that hat as well and say, well, do you study yourself to that extent, or you kind of just go with the flow?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of doing stand-up. I feel like I don't do it as often as other people will like watch every video, record every set, like even audio record every set. I don't have my phone with me, and then listen back and then hear when people are laughing and stuff. But I just like do a joke, feel a reaction, and I'm like, people weren't really liking that. Okay, like go back. Okay, let me take that out. Like that joke's not working. And is the juice worth the squeeze?
Gotcha. So you on the spot, you'll change your whole fucking set?
Not change a set, but I look back and I'm like, because I have a set list. I like go through and I'm like, okay. And yeah, I teach stand up too. So that's
I was
also
like, this is the first time someone's explained that I've heard someone explain their
really?
process with comedy so transparently. So
For some reason, everybody keeps the shit like a fucking secret.
yeah, well, that's because probably they're not. I have to teach it, so I have, but it's like they're keeping the secret is they don't know what the fuck they're doing, or like they don't have, they have their internal process. You have to really understand it to teach it and to explain it to other people.
where do you teach at?
Right now I teach with Upright Citizens Brigade. It's
Oh,
like
damn.
Oh, awesome.
Shout out.
UCB.
Wow.
It's like a comedy conservatory. I guess that's the best
comedy
way.
conservatory.
It's argued if it's
For folks who are like not in the industry of comedy, right? So like that's I feel like
it's like a school, and they have an improv program, a sketch writing program. I think it's mostly improv and sketch, and they just are starting stand up. But for the longest time, they've had improv and sketch, and it's been like for over 20 years. And they came from Second City, which is like, but yeah, like Second City and UCB like created a lot of people who are on SNL, who write all like, it is like a place where you go to like learn the skills of comedy and like hone them and all that stuff. So, and then I've been teaching stand-up since like 2017, and I've been teaching with them since the end of last year.
Wow.
So,
That's it. You're no longer doing it? Or?
I am doing it. Yeah.
So teaching it is like teaching them how to deliver punchlines.
Yeah. So I
what it consists
start.
of.
Yeah, I start with like how to write setups and punchlines, and like just writing one-line jokes. Then I extend it to like, okay, let's try to hit this. Like, now that you've established this punchline, can you do it again? And then I'll start doing with like prompts of like, can you write 5 minutes about like something unusual about your family, or like, this or that. And then they come, and then they'll like perform it for each other, and I'll give them notes. They'll give each other notes, and then they'll work on it again and again until they have a class show. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
A full show? Like,
They'll do a show at the end, like a little recital.
Huh.
So you're like the curator, the head writer, and the director for a class.
Yeah, basic. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm directing that class. Yeah, exactly. I'm directing like 5 little stand-up sets or whatever.
That's a lot.
10, even to 15 5-minute sets. Yeah.
One of my close friends took a class. I don't know if it was at UBC, but I was really heartbroken when he didn't invite me to his fucking stand-up recital shit. I learned like
fun of
after the fact. I'm like,
he wasn't confident enough on his
and I'm like, how can you not invite me?
Yeah.
I would have been like your number one supporter.
We haven't. I mean, the classes.
Well,
I don't know if they did anything for him.
People get really nervous, and it's like
Yeah.
scary new, and like I try to. Part of my first class is like. There's this quote from Ira Glass, who created This American Life, and he's like one of the like kind of great podcasters of America and storytellers and stuff. And he has this whole quote that I like to share with my students. And students, they're in their 50s. They're all over the place. They're all over the country because I teach virtually mostly now. I do teach in person, but virtually is what I've been doing for a while. And it's just like when you first start out, you have really good taste, but you don't have the experience to get to that level of what your taste is. So you just think your taste develops faster than your experience, than your experience lets you. So you're watching shit on TV and you're like, oh, I'm never going to be like this person. And then you give up, but it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to be like this person. It takes a long time, like you have to be patient with yourself. But like, that's where in this like gap, most people give up.
It's true. I mean, that's where I find my frustration with my career, not with comedy, but that's the frustration of keep going.
Yeah,
keep going,
I know.
because it is a long game.
It is the long game, which is annoying.
Yes, I know.
It's not easy.
Yeah, you straight rolled your eyes. You're like, fuck.
I know. Well, again, I went to LA to like, oh, maybe if I do this one thing, because it's been a rough year, like with the strikes, it was over and no one's hiring. And then like, usually if I don't have a TV job, I can get like some kind of tech job or something doing so. And like, it's just been rough. No one's fucking hiring. It's like a hirer's market, an employer's market. And I was like, well, maybe the answer is like, I fucking hate LA, whatever. Maybe the answer is I move to LA and like, it'll be easier for me to get a job in TV. And all my LA friends are like, there are no jobs. It fucking sucks. You don't even see your friends here. You have to work really hard to maintain a social life. Like, people don't really see, and I'm like, damn. And it's like, okay, well, I guess like, fuck. Like, I guess I gotta go back to New York and keep grinding, god damn it.
At least you don't have to have a card over here.
Well, exactly. Like, and that's another thing. Is like, okay, well, I know how to be broke in New York. I know, like, I know how to go.
It's real.
I know the produce. I know I could whatever. I know I could go out and hang out with my friends all night and not spend too much and all this stuff. And I got my shit.
Hacks.
I got my shit here. Like, in LA, forget about it. It's fucking like you're walking up a hill. It's like, oh my god, this shit sucks. Mid-ass food is like $30. It's like, man, you can eat good here. You can eat good for 15. Yeah,
$15 will get you a nice meal in New York.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 15.
Un
Like,
lunch, un lunch.
like really
un
good
That's
meal
true.
for
A
15.
hearty meal.
A hearty
Yeah.
meal for is 15
With meat.
18, you could whatever. If I went to this pop up. No offense, and I get it. Get your money. There's not a lot of Dominicans in LA. I went to the Dominican. Like there's one big party called Capicua in LA. That's like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, and this one Dominican chef throws like a pop up. Like it's like he has his restaurant pop up. There's like It's really cool and it's really good vibes. And again, there's not a lot of Dominicans there. There's not a lot of Puerto Ricans there, so it's cool to find community, and it was fun. When I tell you how much this guy was charging for
Wow.
moro,
LA prices.
pollo guisado, and salad,
How much?
$27.
Oh,
I was close.
eso dolió.
Yeah.
But was it like the portion was
Was it
close
LA
to it?
portions?
Yeah, was it
too?
LA portion? Because LA portions be like,
The LA portions are tough.
they tough.
It was fine. It wasn't like lonche portions where you can eat twice.
Right.
Yeah, launch a portion. You could
It's the
divide
whole
that
day,
shit by
bro.
two.
Yeah.
It's
By
the
two.
whole day. You buy
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
you're good for a family.
Yeah, hell
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not like Malecon down the street.
Wow.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like no, it was not like that.
Damn.
It was like half of like the appropriate amount. It's an appropriate amount of food, like. You know, and I sure, you know, but
who
like,
wants that?
but for 27,
Yeah,
For 30
that's
bucks?
wild.
Fuck that.
That's
Because you know you're
fucking-
going to leave that
And
extra
the
3 for
line-
tip.
That's wild.
the
Yeah, might as
line-
well.
I mean,
the
5.
line is wrapped around. Oh my
Good
god,
for them.
good for
Wow.
them. Good,
Yo, they
you know what I
killing it.
It's a
mean?
good hustle.
They're killing
What?
it.
They couldn't imagine a bag of rice. How much is that?
I don't know what
Beans
LA
are mad
prices are.
cheap. Oh, no, they killing
They
it.
made like I think pollo guisado, like bacala, like shit like that.
Yeah, regular shit that my mom makes.
No,
Yeah,
they-
that you buy when
yeah.
there's no market, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of the shit, like, I'm sure some of the seasonings and some of the things, like, you can't get there quick, easily, so you gotta source
export
I know they do. They
tax.
sprinkle that little green shit on top, make it look fancy as over.
They already did
They're
that to
moving to LA.
Mexican food. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I started just making my own now.
They wildin' now.
Hilarious. The thing is that, but you also have to factor in, if you are getting shit from DR, it's going all the way across country.
To LA,
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm saying, or even like from here, or even whatever, like,
It was coming from the city. From
yeah,
New York.
or because there's certain things that you just can't get, like here, even because I grew up in Miami, even
Is that where you're originally from?
yeah, like Miami area, and I didn't know that. Obviously my parents are, both of my parents are Dominican, but like my favorite food that my mom would make is like Ropa Vieja and pica, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was Cuban. So I didn't know that was a Cuban dish. My Dominican mom would make it, and it was fucking fire. So then she came to the Bronx, and she was like, okay, where's the Cuban grocery stores? And I'm like, oh, no, they're all Dominican. She's like, oh, shit, like this
No
cut
more
of
ropa
meat.
vieja.
I know. She's like, this cut of, like in the Cuban grocery stores, they'll sell you that cut of beef that you use for Ropa Vieja. No, and I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. So I can imagine in LA,
Yeah.
it's whatever. But still, $27. Goddamn.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's a wild ass name for meat, ropa vieja.
Old clothes.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah.
Never
Do you
really
know
thought
why
about
it's
it.
called that way? Does anyone
Because
know?
it's raggy, no? It's like look like
I
raggy
think it's
meat.
like because it's shredded meat.
Shredded meat. That's what I
Como
was.
que se ve como rojo.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's fucking good.
Good, yeah.
It's fucking good.
I want some now.
Yeah, I know.
Not for $27 though.
No, but
So your stint in LA didn't last too long. Our friend Glo. Are you familiar with Glowden?
yeah.
She moved out there.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going for her, but she's still out there. So I'm just like, oh. Fuck.
Yeah, she's doing her thing. She's doing shows and stuff. I didn't, cause like, I went for a summer. She came to New York for a summer, so I
Right.
think like we just switched.
She's in Edinburgh. She was in Edinburgh.
Oh, and she's in Edinburgh now
she's
too.
still out
Yeah.
there.
And you've been, and that's just because, then you guys must have done together Netflix as a joke thing
Yeah.
together.
She did. Yeah, I did some shows in Spanish.
Which you killed, by the way. At least the like short clips that you posted
No,
online.
I did really well.
Yo soy bonita y gorda. Gracias por el aplauso. Mis amigas que son bonitas y flacas, cuando ponen algo en las redes sociales, un foto de ella sexy, todo el mundo en los comentarios son fuego, fuego, fuego. Ay, mira, te quiero comer. Ay, ay, ay. Wow. Cuando yo pongo fotos mías, gente que me quiere dice, wow, a mí me encanta tu confianza.
I'm about to say, was that the first time or do you normally?
No, I have a friend, I have a really good friend, and he's really popular. He does a lot of stand-up in Spanish, and he's been like pushing me like, you got to do it. So I've been doing it with him for probably close to 2 years now, a year and a half. And it's fun. It's like it's like a different market. It's undersaturated. There's not as many stand-up comedians doing stand-up in Spanish in America.
Right.
So there's that underserved market. There's not a lot of stand-up comedy in Spanish that's not misogynistic. That's not like, my wife is ugly. Like, so there's that appetite there. And then there's not that much Spanish in Spanish that's not misogynistic that's coming from women. So, and then for that, even less from women that look like me, you know? So
Full field is yours.
Yeah, it's been fun and it's been, but like, it just is, I'm just used to, I've been doing stand-up in English for so long. My ear was itching. I've been doing stand-up in English for so long that, I'm comfortable. Like, I know, like I don't bomb like the same, like, it'll like a bomb for me now is like, it was just okay. Like, I'm not like eating shit, like anymore, because I've been just doing it for a while. It could go okay, which still doesn't feel great. But most of the time it'll go great or it'll go good or just okay, if I'm not like 100% on my P's and Q's in Spanish, well, I just did this show in like April, which was like a month before I went to do Netflix as a joke in Spanish. I did a show in April, and I bombed so hard that I'm like, should I never speak Spanish again?
God.
Not even to my parents.
Jesus Christ.
Can I just give up on the whole?
Was you
It's dead
stuttering?
anyway.
What happened? Was you stuttering? What happened?
Damn.
No one even speaks it anymore. Yeah.
Is there, when you prepare for a show in Spanish, for that show, for instance, what's your process? Is it different from regular doing it in English?
Yeah, I think that show's particularly, I was like, oh, it's a low stakes show. It's at this smaller place. Like, I'm going to try some new jokes. And it's just like, the crowd was, and it's also like, I think that because it's this is my theory. I think that in America, I think American culture, Black people and white people, and just America, it's like stand-up comedy is a thing that you go out with your friends. You can either go to a dive bar, go to like a dancey club, go to a karaoke bar, or see stand-up comedy, or go to the movies. Like, that's part of the rotation, right? I don't think Latin people are like, let me just go to a stand-up comedy show. Like, I think they're like, I like Gabriel Iglesias. I like this person. There's a comedian I like and I follow, or I saw their videos on Instagram. But they don't just they're not going to go to a club, a comedy club, and also there's not much there for them anyway. But it's not like part of the routine of like, I'm going to go see this is what it's like to, just like you would see a local band or like a random DJ, you know what I mean? You kind of know, even if you've never heard of this band, like, okay, they're a band, they're up and coming, whatever. All of that's to say, like, a lot of the audience isn't educated, not like they're stupid, but I mean educated in the etiquette of people are checking WhatsApp voice notes, talking,
Oh, that's gotta be horrible.
back.
That gotta be
No,
horrible.
all the time, and most of the time it's good, but like that does happen. So in that show that I did poorly, so I'm like trying new jokes, they're not hitting. Then there people are just having full on conversations.
God, that's
then
so
checking
hard.
night in the WhatsApp. My friend who's really popular and really, really successful.
May we ask who the friend is? Or
Huh?
May we ask who the friend is?
Yeah, Angelo Colina. He did it first. He opened. And he sells out tours around the US. He's constantly touring.
And he only does stand up in Spanish.
And he only does stand up in Spanish. He's Venezuelan. Oh, a lot of people who are doing stand up in Spanish aren't American born. So that's even less. So it's like, but the audience are like señoras that go, like a lot of their family, like they go with their family, like the adult kids, and their, they bring their parents.
For this comedian specifically.
For this comedian,
okay.
but like what I've noticed, I've opened for him, so yeah, for this comedian, it's like a lot of like, and like, but also like, the parents are from like straight from Ecuador or whatever, but the kids grew up here, so they speak Spanish, so they also, that's also another thing of like, I'm, Spanish as a second or the same language. So yeah, there's like that. And then Angelo's opening, the crowd's not giving him anything. And you can kind of tell, like, before you get up, you're backstage or you're looking and you're just seeing what the crowd's reacting to. And I was like, okay, this is not going to be easy. And then he's
they're not reacting to him. I can't even.
Yeah, they're
like a
reacting
band
this
buffer.
to him. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, and I was the only woman on that show. It's already like, boof. So then he goes, he has this joke about doing drugs, whatever. So he's like, has anyone in here done drugs before? And this guy in the front row, he's like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, when was the last time you did drugs? And the guy's like, right before the show. And he's like, oh, like weed? And the guy's like, nope. Okay. So it was just bad. It was a chatty, different, whatever. It was just like,
It was like straight heroin. Right?
yeah, I know. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
With someone playing a WhatsApp voice note in the background.
Yeah. Oh my God. Then after, I'm like, that was like the worst show. Then after, this guy comes up to us. This guy's like, hey, I'm from Nicaragua. I've been here like not that long. I haven't been in the U. I don't think he's been in the U.S. more than 2 or 3 years. He's like, I've never seen stand-up comedy before in my life.
Wow.
I
Whole
never
new
seen
art
it live.
form.
Yeah, I'm like, I never seen that. You guys were great. He was one of the people talking the whole time.
Because he didn't know the etiquette.
He didn't know the etiquette, so that's what I mean.
okay,
So I'm like,
okay.
Jesus Christ. So then you're talking to me, what's my process to prepare? Now, after that show, I'm like, okay, now I know. Some singers go on vocal rest. I've had to go on vocal rest before, but I do English rest. I'm like, before the show, I'm not speaking in English. I'm listening to Spanish. I'm listening to Spanish music. I'm
wow.
watching Spanish clips. I'm listening to Spanish podcasts. Like, I'm getting in the
Spanish mode.
Spanish mode.
loosening.
Because if I fuck up one word, if one setup doesn't hit or whatever, it'll fuck up the whole flow, So that's kind of my thing, is like, I do an English rest for like 10, 24 hours before
I get it.
I do a show in Spanish. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's like, I mean, that level of commitment is impressive, because for me to think in Spanish, I first have to process in English and then
Yeah.
in Spanish.
Spanish is not. Yeah.
And in comedy, like, matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned this. I was thinking to myself earlier, randomly, I don't know why. I don't know what we were watching on TV. But it was something, I was talking about like Iran, and Iraq. And I was like, yo, I don't think those people have comedy clubs out
Hell
there.
no.
You don't. I was like, and I say it's because women don't have rights out there.
Hell no.
I'm sure they do. They have comedy videos and they probably whatever. And it's different. Who knows? Iran, there's a lot of like Persian. There's a lot of Persian American people and Persian people. Like, you'd be actually, that's so funny that you said that. That's actually so funny that you say Iran, because there's this guy in my class. I taught stand up, and this guy, and like, I just knew there was something about him, and he always came with drumsticks. So I'm like, I bet you he's had success as a musician. Like, he just gave this air, like, whatever. He came in normal. I treated him like whatever, but I'm just like, I bet you this guy used to, because that happens a lot. There's like, this guy used to be a famous musician and he's kind of chilling and he's trying to find another art form. This guy was whatever. And then at his show, his wife and his friend comes up to us and he's like, wow, like that's really good. Like, you don't know, he's a big deal. He used to have like the Daily Show of Iran for many years and run it and all this stuff, and would come out against the government, and he was like banned, and he was interviewed on the actual American Daily Show, and I'm like, oh my God, I remember that fucking interview with, you know, and then he's like, oh, I'll follow you on Instagram. He has like 600,000 followers. What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, they actually do.
They do. They're under
thing.
They're not there anymore.
And I was really, I mean, whatever.
So why you used to have the drumsticks?
He had the drumsticks. No, he liked to also play music and stuff. Okay. But I'm like, yeah, well, it's good, you know, not that I wouldn't have given notes or whatever, but I'm just like, yeah, somebody else would have been easy on him or not, whatever. But it was good. I think it was good for me to like, and I think he didn't want me to know anything about his past before he came, you know. And it was interesting because that came out too, because like a lot of his comedy was about politics and about this, and I'm like, hey, for stand up, like I think the most you got to talk about yourself, like your family or whatever. So it's interesting.
He's like, I know politics.
Well,
everyone who comes from there, they are banned from the government, or if they speak out, they'll get in trouble with the government. In my experience with people that I've crossed paths that have escaped.
Well, because even in Latino America, like, you know, we just were in DR. And for some reason, it didn't cross my mind. They could, let's go to a stand-up comedy club, or let's do this.
But do they have
and that's another thing. Like, I don't think there is a dedicated spot for that.
Do they got like a Spanish Dave Chappelle type?
Yeah. And Angelo opened for this guy. His name is Carlos. I forgot his last name. And he has a big...
Not Carlos Mencia.
Barboa?
No, I'm gonna fuck up.
You're like, I ain't here to fucking talk about these other motherfuckers.
No, I can look it up, but he seems like really popular, and every time he comes to the U.S., he like sells out his tours. But he has a huge fan base in DR. Like, I feel like there are good, like, how many? I don't know. I actually don't know what the scene is, but I feel like it's more they follow people, and then those people do shows. More than I'm going to go to this one club and then I always know that it's going to have good comedy there. I don't think that it's like that.
No, because I mean, even up here in the Heights, we don't have shit. We don't got like a comedy club or a spot. Like, I was talking to a bachatero, and he was like, "Yo, you crazy hitting a fucking the what? I'm gonna hit the club and the lounge scene. Nobody's fucking listening, bro. Everybody's just fucking smoking hookah and going ape shit." And I'm like, "All right, cool."
No, they're not gonna turn down the music either. So
for him to do bachata live?
Yeah.
Really? I feel like that would. I feel like.
It's interesting, and
because I'm like, dancing with bachata live, merengue, like anything salsa live is so much better. It feels so fucking sick.
Yeah,
anything live, really.
Anything live.
He was sharing that basically the industry scene, at least, you know, in Latino, like just in New York, Latin New York market, Jersey, and all that kind of stuff. He's like, oh, what do you expect me to hit? Like these restaurants, these clubs, these lounges. When you do hit them, no one's paying attention to you. No one, the owners don't want to pay you the right money. And I was like, and he's like, imagine extrapolate, you know, in exchange with them, but then they're Dominican, they're fucking this and that, and he's like, yo, la vaina se complica rápido, bro. And I'm like, and so culturally, I'm thinking to myself, like, not something I gave much thought to, because you get caught up in, I guess, the American culture mindset, as you mentioned, and it's like, oh, comedy is natural, right? But when we went to shot down in Mexico, same thing. Like, it didn't cross my thought process, like, oh, let's go to a comedy club, and it's not something that just pops up.
I feel like where we were in Mexico and Chiapas, there's like no comedy clubs. The border where my grandparents live, no comedy clubs. But in Mexico City, I've seen a couple Netflix specials of Mexican comedians doing their set in Spanish to Mexican audiences. So I think there is a niche market down there for that.
There is.
Yeah.
And one of Angelo's friends, there are these 3 Venezuelan guys who have an insanely popular podcast. Their podcast has like almost 1 million followers on Instagram. They they have like a I think they tour and all this stuff. The three of them live in Mexico City. So they're constantly doing shows there. Well, there we go.
There goes your earring.
There goes my
It
earring.
didn't break.
It didn't break. Okay.
Do you feel have you felt that sometimes, like, your joke would smack if it were if it's like a Caribbean crowd versus a South American crowd, or
I alter, like, if I know that I'm, because in LA is, mostly Mexican. That's part of it, is like, but that is part of like being a good stand-up, is like, and this is what I tell my students, like, if I can only make a room full of people that look like me, or a room full of white people laugh, like, I'm not a good comedian, But if I could make people in LA, Mexican people in LA, people in, Dominican people up here, like, I'll do more Dominican jokes here. I think, like, that was just a big, and this year has been really, really interesting, because I can do a show with white gay people in Brooklyn and Bushwick and all my stuff, and like, I did a show where there was like 3 trans people in the lineup, and it was like all the, and make them laugh. And then I did the Dominican Independence Day show at United Palace and killed it there. And then I went to LA and did a show, and it was all Mexican, you know what I mean? And like, but you have to change it up, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to pick but then sometimes, like, there's a joke that's like, I have a joke that is like, if you are Dominican.
It must be a good joke.
I know. I'm just saying, if you want to meet every Dominican person in the tri-state area, from New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, it's very easy. All you have to do is go on Facebook Marketplace and list a used Honda Accord for sale, and they will all come through.
savage.
But, and then it's like, I can say that because I'm Dominican, and I bought my used Honda Accord, and then I sold my used Honda Accord to another Dominican. But then that still got laughs in LA, like, you know what I mean? Because they can because I'm so specific. If you're so specific, people can like wrap their head around that. If I said a Honda, they're like, but if I say a used Honda Accord, like,
There's strength in specificity.
The specificity is universal, is like whatever saying.
To speak to how you work, and you share that you have your non-English fast. I don't remember what you called it, but you're like, I don't speak English before I do a set, right? You put a lot of preparation into your work, which I love. So, and speaking to your podcast that you're on, Go Touch Grass, I really love it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
And
thank you, my only listener. No, you don't listen to the podcast. Excuse me, it's Monster Calling.
I listen to it too.
Thank you. Lying ass.
I bring it up.
It's the one IP address.
Okay.
From New York. I bring it up because you do a lot of research in your preparation of materials, and I think I respect that, and I love research personally in my work. Like, I love doing it. I find that process so fascinating. So I guess can you speak to that, to your research process, and how long it takes you to prep for whatever if it's a set or if it's an episode for the podcast?
Yeah. So the podcast. So my podcast, Go Touch Grass. It's
One more time.
Yeah. So it's So I'll take a step back. Me and Elise, the girl I host it with, we used to be on a news and politics podcast that was on a women's media network. And we would record about at least twice a week. It used to be like 4 times a week, and they would rotate hosts. But then they kind of eliminated 2 of the hosts and then just kept us. So it would be on news. So what would happen is the main and it was me and 2 other women, and the main host would come with an outline, and we'd have to like research and like kind of have our opinions on it, and so we did that for years, but like we just didn't have control over like it was just a lot of like talking about floods and mass shootings and stuff. And I would try to have to be funny about it and try not to be like depressing and stuff. Because at the end of the day, like we are comedians, but it's also like I don't like to say it's tough because at one point I'm like, I'm just a comedian, I'm not a journalist, but at the other point I'm like, but I'm doing more than, because I think a lot of people like really are like, oh, a podcast, I'm just gonna sit and like come mierda for 2 hours, I'm not gonna research, I'm just gonna talk, whatever. And it's like, that's not like, your audience needs to get something out of it, you know what I mean? And maybe, you know, they can listen to the Daily for news and they can get stuff, other medium for news, but like no one's like, our kind of thing was like, who's focusing it for women, like, and talking about, you know, the Daily isn't talking about abortion every day and like how 38 states have banned it, and all this stuff, and like trying to be funny and like inspire, you know, and like we interviewed like a guy who, there's a fucking nonprofit, all they do is like the pilots when they're on their break or retired, they fly, you know, women from Alabama or from whatever to another state that can do an abortion for free.
Wow. I didn't know this.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the kind of news we were doing. And also like trying to be fun and engaging, but like that kind of stuff. So when it was time to do our own things, it's like, okay, like we want to like kind of talk like, but we are comedians and we want it to be fun. So like, it's like, what if we talked about the internet and focused on topics that like things that are trending? Why is everyone arguing? Like, I don't know. And then also, yeah, like, sometimes you enter the internet and you don't like, you're brushing your teeth and you're checking your phone and then you see everyone arguing. You're like, what the fuck is everyone arguing about? And then you have to click on 20 things. Yeah. So we're like, okay, you know, and then people who are so online, they tell them to go touch grass. So that's why we came up with the name Go Touch Grass. So it's like, we log in so you can log off. We're going to tell you everything. We're going to research it so that you can just listen and kind of know, like, not only what people are arguing about, but like, what are all the arguments? How do we feel about it and all that stuff? So yeah, in terms of preparation, me and Elise are texting and we're like, okay, we're thinking this, we're thinking that. Because it's not just about like, finding stories is not just about like, okay, this thing went viral. It's like, is this going to lend for more conversation? You know, is this because a lot of times things lend itself to like talking about race, talking about gender, talking about pay inequality, all that stuff. So is it going to be like rich for that? And then finding enough details that can like assist the conversation and like, what, you know, finding that right balance of like giving information but also allowing for commentary but also like making it engaging and fun. So I think like probably we're getting on our ideas, and then sometimes the reality of it is so like funny that we have a doc and I'm like, don't look at the doc, like don't fucking look at it. Like there's just one segment we used to do is like, what are they talking about? And it's like, we read a crazy reply that someone has, and we ask them like, what were they replying to, you know? And it's usually something. So this one guy's like, they should put barricades next to the urinals in the men's bathroom at the Met Stadium. One man can look at another man's penis and start fighting, and this is ridiculous, and all this stuff. And he goes on this whole rant, and we're like, what the fuck? And then it's like, and we're like, well, what was he replying to? And we have to guess, and it's always wrong. And that was literally a response to like, Happy Black History Month from the Mets. I'm like, yeah, like, stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool. So yeah, it takes me. So when I'm doing, we're talking about what we're thinking of doing, and then probably that morning we recorded at like 2 p.m. That morning I have my remote job. I'm like working my job, making this doc, working my job, making the doc, finding video clips that kind of like support what I'm gonna say and all that stuff, and like creating questions that are gonna lead to conversation. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I know.
I respect it.
I know.
And like the way y'all curate the episode and the segments, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the discourse.
Yeah, the discourse. Yeah. So we were pitching it around, you know. Because the good thing about the other podcast was like, we just had to show up and then it would be edited. But you know what I mean? Like, it would
We do, because Ron here is the producer. He's the one that sets up, the creator, producer, everything. He sets the studio up from our living room every Saturday to record. So we just walk in. Yeah. And then Ron was sharing this morning, like, oh, you know, I'm looking forward to the day that we can just walk into a studio and have everything ready for us. And Dre here, who also just walks in, was like, yeah, me too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, on the flip side is like, you don't have control. Like then we were talking, you know, and you know, it wasn't commiserate with the money, whatever. So it's like, okay, well, we have this thing that we own, but now we own it. Like, so we were pitching it around. So we had to come up with these segments before. And we met, because I know a lot of people in podcasting, like people who work for This American Life, with Gimlet, with all this stuff. So we had like a lot of, we met with this woman who develops podcasts, like, but more like documentary style. And like really capital P podcasts that are like, you know, owned by Spotify, shit like that. So we met with her. We gave her our pitch. She gave us notes on the pitch. You know what I mean? We took them and then we started pitching. We pitched to like 6 or 7 different studios. We met whatever. And like, yeah, now we're just at this place where, yeah, it's like, if it's just, that's the thing. Is like, if it's just, you know, sitting down and talking and doing the podcast, like, that's kind of the fun part. It's like all the other things. Like,
the back end
yeah,
is not
and
the
it's
fun
like,
part.
yeah. Well, that's the same thing with stand-up. It's like, you know, I do a show, or I did this show once, and I get off stage, and this woman's like, it must be so hard. And I'm like, what? It's like, oh, doing stand-up. And I'm like, let me tell you something. For me to do this show, first of all, I produced this show. So I emailed every person. I got this lineup together. I emailed every person. And then when one of them dropped, I had to get another one. Then I had to do all the tech. So everyone had to send me the tech files. Then I had to curate the order of the show to make sure that the show had good energy. Then I had to post it on social media, post flyers, get everyone's headshots, this and that. Then I had to do the sound check, do this, do that. Finally, when I taught, you know, when I went on stage, like, yeah, that's the fun part. That's the fun.
The actual doing is what one wants
all the
to
hard
enjoy.
work is done.
There's a lot of
Everything
prep work
else
to
is
get to
like,
it.
How many shows you do? Like,
I used to do a lot more, and then I kind of chilled.
Why?
I got really depressed. No, I just like, now it's just quality over quantity, and also just like, you know, I'm just, is the juice worth the squeeze? And now I'm like, it's like, now every show is like, you're posting clips, you're posting this, like, it's a whole thing. So it's like, I gotta go, I have to have an outfit, I have to do my makeup, I have to do my hair, I have to look good. It's a production.
Yeah.
And again, I'm my own makeup artist, I'm my own hairstylist, I'm my own stylist. I show up, you know, before that, now, my dog, he's in Florida right now, but I have to walk my dog, make sure my dog's fed all before I leave. I get there, mingle, prep my set, go on stage, do my 10, 15, 20 minutes, get off, you know, etiquette is, you gotta mingle after, unless you're doing 10 shows, or 5 shows or 3 shows in one night, which I'm not doing. Then you're hanging out after, you gotta get a drink after, you this, that, whatever. And then I come home, and then some of these shows are like, sometimes it's $50. Oh, wow. Sometimes it's $100. Like, yeah, so if I'm getting paid $100, $200, $300, of $400, I'm leaving the house.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. But some of these shows, they're in Carajo land, and it's $30. And then I'm doing all this shit.
No.
Sounds like a lot.
Se fue en el trago,
Yeah,
fucking money.
Metro card.
Yeah, well, and then like, yeah, not even Metro. Well, and then sometimes I just feel so, like, the shows are so draining. And they're at night, you know, sometimes. And then if I do get a drink, which is like kind of etiquette, you know, I don't have to, but like even getting one drink, whatever, then it's 11. I'm going to take a car.
Yeah.
And then the car.
The Uber right there.
The Uber, $25, $30. And then, no, man, I'm not. So I chilled on that. I chilled on that. Unless I get something out of it. Like, okay, I'm doing this show in Denver that I'm getting flown out to. So, okay, I should try to do like shows to prep because I want to try new jokes and stuff. Like maybe that. And then only it's really like, how far is it?
No, congratulations. I mean, for Denver, that's cool. Right?
Yeah.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, I think, so I've just been chilling, scaling back on like doing, it just takes so much out of me. And I've just been like, okay, I need to focus on the podcast and like, which is,
You feel burnt out?
Oh, I'm definitely burnt out. I was burnt out at the beginning of the album. I'm so burnt out, which sucks. It's like,
It's important to recognize because I think taking steps to take care of yourself and figure out where to prioritize your energy is important.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm hoping. And like, we have a Patreon. We have some subscribers. Like, kind of. So the goal, obviously the goal is like, oh, if I get a TV job, like, I can make good money and like it'll be more stable. When it's like that's not looking like it's possible right now.
At the moment,
it's like not at the moment. But I'm like I'm actually better off like putting energy into this podcast and growing it to like it could be something that I can sustain myself, which seems more possible. Not that it's not possible to get TV or whatever, but it's like it just seems more possible for it to be a longer term sustainable thing. If I focus on it and if we keep at it, for a few years, because it takes like 2 years, and it's like, oh, okay, like let's keep working and developing,
And it's yours.
And it's mine. We own the IP and everything, so
it's great.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Allowing yourself that agency. You always talk about
agency. I'm all about agency.
No.
And then you could take that podcast and then create more
shit.
other media from that.
Yeah, and like people could see like, oh, we do this podcast, we could do other whatever. But also it's like, I mean, the other podcast that we did, it got 3 million downloads a year. And like 150,
Thank you.
150,000 a month. And like, we had to start from scratch when we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Completely from like, so it's like, even if whatever, like, this is ours. Like, this is...
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
important.
You own it.
Yeah.
You had a great idea for a TV show. I was listening to a podcast that you were on as a guest. I don't remember the name of it. It was about wrestling. But you had a great idea for a TV show that I think you should pursue. That is a Real Housewives meets WWE.
Yeah.
I told you, right? She was a writer
for WWE, right?
I was like, that shit... I've never met a writer. So I'm like, that shit is... for wrestling specifically.
Yeah.
So
they
how
don't
is
like
it?
to publicize it that much.
So you pick out... they give you like a wrestler to write about?
I can't talk about that.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't get too into it, but I'll just say, I guess you come up with storylines and like it is like it's a TV show, or it's like a comic book. So it's like, you have your one issue and you have your rivalries, but then you have your like leading towards the pay-per-view. And it's the same thing as a TV show. Like, you have your episode to episode, they have this, but then in the whole arc, they have this. So it really is like Real Housewives too, where it's like, there's, 5 women. These 2 women hate each other from last year. These 2 women are friends now, and then these 2 women are friends now. But oh my God, this woman and this woman are friends, and then she's going back to her, and then they fight, because why are you friends with me? You know what I mean? That's kind of wrestling.
Yeah. I think it's a great premise.
Physical violence.
Yeah, I mean,
staged.
Why don't you pick?
It's not. It's staged in like. It's staged.
Only
They're
the
really
storylines.
hurting each other.
Yeah. Only the storylines.
The storylines on like
it's scripted.
It's scripted, but they're hurting each other. They're really getting injured. But for the pivot, whatever.
But you mentioned in the other joint, and I won't go too much into it. However, you mentioned something that I thought was really cool. How you went down to I forgot if it was South America somewhere, but you went to a Lucha Libre event.
Yeah.
Oh, Damascus.
And I'm like, yo, why don't you pivot and start writing for Lucha Libre? Because them motherfuckers need story.
I don't think they got storyline.
Yeah, they just fight. I'm like, they need some storyline.
Or I don't know if you've heard of the Cholitas in Bolivia.
Yeah, they have that kind of stuff in Mexico City too. They're like the more like kind of indigenous women wrestling
dressed in the full skirts.
Yeah, they do that a little bit in Mexico too.
Oh wow!
Like where I saw that.
Yo.
I just think that I wonder with Lucha because you need that with I guess it needs to be televised because with Lucha Libre like that's a thing that people do when you're in Mexico City. You don't go to a comedy club. You're like, oh, I could go this. I could do lucha, and you want to be able to drop in and not know anything and still enjoy it. So I feel like it's more like less story based because it's more live whatever versus
mad acrobatics and shit.
Yeah,
it's mad acrobatics. It's mad whatever. It's more like like kind of the circus. Versus, for TV show, they have to have like Roman Reigns like beefing.
But what about for like a YouTube web series or something? I'm just curious, like something that can, because actually, isn't there one on like some channel? I forgot the name of the channel. I'll look it up. But there is a like a Lucha Libre style, but and it is televised. I think it's like on King TV. It was one of those random channels or some dumb shit. But I feel like they don't have those chops of the storytelling and all that kind of stuff.
Fight. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, yo, that would be a wild pivot, like, to even just consider. But just throwing it out there. Like, yeah.
I think that like people who watch the underground wrestling are people who like the fighting aspect of it and stuff, and they don't like the storyline as much. And also, I'm not saying there's a demand, but I'm just saying like
you create it.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze for that. Yeah. I'm just like, where's the juice worth the squeeze for me? Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's not, I don't want to put so much on like other people's shit. I want to like keep squeezing my own, get my own juice. But that is but if someone's like, hey, here's $20,000, hell yeah,
Let's do it.
I will not say no to anything. But if you're talking about me creating, there are more ideas I'm more excited about.
What ideas are you excited about?
Well, my podcast. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I feel like I want to do like an hour or a half hour in Spanish. Like that's kind of my next thing. Writing a short film. Like those are things that I'm like, things that are mine, that are mine and me, and like I don't need other people to do.
Do you think that the TikTok comedy, which I call TikTok comedy, is like the sketches, the craziness that a lot of the new generation are following is gonna kill stand up one day?
No. That's like, I'm trying to find an analogy. So it's just, in many ways it's cool, like, because before, for you to get any opportunity, like you have to get like 12 to 13 of the most washed old white guys to sign off on you and to fuck with you and all this stuff. And now you can you have a camera phone, you can just put yourself out there, fuck it, but the skills that you need to perform well on social media and to constantly go viral on social media, and the skills you need to be a good live performer are not the same. So what happens is, of course, people don't want the gatekeeping, which the gatekeeping, they, whatever, like, they'll tell you you're whack, and then, you eat shit, you're doing empty shows for a while, and you're gaining your following, and you're getting better little by little with years, and then until this one guy fucks with you, and then he passes you to the next level, and then you can tour, and then this and that. Like, that's how it was before. But those people, when the finally that guy passes you or whatever, that one guy fucks with you, for the most part, you've gone through people heckling. You know how to do every kind of crowd. You have a bunch of jokes that you've worked on for many years that do well in person, or like, like live and stuff. Yeah, versus like, you do a bit on TikTok that does really well, and then you know how to go viral on TikTok. But then what can you do from that? Like, you could either keep making TikToks or do live shows. But what are you going to do live? Then that's kind of the complaint with TikTok comedy people is like, and there are people who are really good at comedy and are good at TikTok and good at social media and have a big following. There are people there, and those people do exist. But I don't think it's going to kill, but I think that, I just hope that if you see someone that's corny, like, or whatever, you see a TikToker that you like, you give comedy a chance, because it's like, and also support a lot of different people, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of like the argument with like somebody like Ice Spice versus, a Nicki Minaj who like had to really like
grind it out,
keep working, but it's fucking hard. There's a lot. And then, in the hip hop industry and in comedy too, like the standards are way higher for women. You have to be whatever. And then some creepy guy saying some shitty thing to you can like completely discourage you from wanting to pursue it. And, and then, so I understand like that.
That's wild. That's like so much packed in.
Word up.
It's have you been able, because in also, given some of the experiences that you have gone through with online stuff, I even saw that somebody created like a whole fake profile of you and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like
That's when you made it. That's when you made it. That's when you made it.
Levels of superstardom when motherfuckers is creating fake things. You gotta get verified and all that.
They take the time to do that.
Like, have you learned to build a thick skin around that? Like, and just fucking block out all that noise? Or that shit still seeps in and fucks with you?
Sometimes,
because that's a lot of effort.
The kind of shitty thing about it is that I don't have the bank account of someone else ever has made it or superstar. Because, like, if I had, you know what I mean? It's like, you have to develop thick skin. You have to really eat a lot of shit. You gotta whatever, no matter what. And also, you're fucking broke. And you're, like, still grinding and you're still hustling and you're still whatever. So that's when it's like, that's when it gets really frustrating and really annoying, is that, obviously Beyonce, obviously a lot of people have crazy people that say all kinds of shit to them, and you have to develop a thick skin anyway. But I'm still anything I post online, anything. You fat ugly bitch. I'm like, okay, cool, like, great, and that used to like, but I was just like, okay, whatever, and with hecklers and with people, there's this guy, like, I have 18 different thoughts. There's this guy, Dylan Marin, and he made this whole series so he used to do, when Facebook Live and Facebook Watch was really big, he had a really popular Facebook show, and he would do like unboxing, or like how many people of color spoke in this TV show, or like in this movie. Like every line from a person of color, and it would be like the doctor and the maid, you know what I mean? And like this like latest movie, and it was like really popular in 2014. Or he would do like kind of like woke comedy stuff, and people would be like, "You F word, you da la," like saying all kinds of stuff because he's gay. So he made this series where he would reach out to anyone, and he would get tons of comments. "Kill yourself, you're ugly," this and that. So he made a series called Conversations with People Who Hate Me, and he would reach out to them and try to get them on the internet. I mean, on a call, and be like, "Why'd you say like?" So what's up with you? And usually it's always people who are bullied, always people who are extremely depressed, always people who like have attempted to, you know what I mean? And then it's like, and then yes, they're like, I didn't think you actually cared or like wanted, like we're gonna see it. Like they don't think you're human. So then that kind of thing I was like, okay. And then also, you know, when people heckle in comedy shows, like either they don't know, again, like back to like the etiquette education, but sometimes people want to do something creative. They want to put themselves out there. Oh, I should, or especially, you know, being a woman. You know, I'm like on dating apps and stuff, which fucking sucks. And then all these guys like, oh, you do comedy? Someone said I was funny. I'm like, okay. Everyone wants to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do it. It's fucking scary. It's hard. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating to put yourself out there. Even to create a podcast, to do anything, you're putting yourself out there. You're betting on yourself, whatever. And people don't want to do it.
That is tough.
So then they see you, you know, and they heckle you. Because they want to prove themselves right. They're like, yeah, this is why I don't do this shit. Because it sucks. And like, look at them and this and that. You know, they have this. And it's like, it's not about me. Like, and sometimes you have a bad show or whatever. But most of the time, it's people who are jealous and whatever. And they want to put you down and this and that. With Me Too, it's a whole thing of like, I think a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of people were sold this lie. If you're skinny, if you have hair like this, if you this and that, you'll be treated better, or you'll be happier, or you'll have a better life than someone who's fatter and darker and all this stuff. And I say this in my comedy too. And I'm saying this in Spanish, which also blows people's mind. And it's like, when they see me and I'm fat and I'm living my dream, or, you know, pursuing my dream, and I'm living out loud and I'm wearing whatever and I'm doing whatever, that makes people mad. But that has nothing to do with me. That's your thing.
That's true.
But I think the hardest part about all of that is that, you know, you got to kind of like accept that and whatever and process that. And also, I'm struggling. Like, I don't have that bank account that Beyonce has, or that stability, or that thing. Like, I'm still fighting, you know what I mean? So it's like everything that I'm doing is constantly met with resistance, with hate, with this and that, and I still gotta keep going. And you're talking shit about me. You want to fucking be a comedian? You want to go fucking embarrass you? Yeah. Go have a Nicaraguan guy check his WhatsApp while you're trying to tell the story about you lost your virginity in Spanish. Go do it. Be my guest. Be my guest.
Damn. It's not easy. I felt that shit. Jesus. Whoa. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, I hear
That
you.
motherfuckers thought it was all jokes and shit. Shit is real out here, motherfucker. Wu-Tang.
Shit is real.
God
Yeah.
Yo, I appreciate you being that
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Thank you for sharing.
That's just I didn't know where that question would go, in what direction that question would go. It was just, I thought it would be like, yeah, you know, I'm just here dealing with this shit, blah blah blah, and keep it moving.
Yeah.
And you took it to a real place, and you know, I appreciate you, because that shit is a lot.
It is a lot. Fuck that.
Mentally.
Yeah. People say all kinds of shit to you. That's just part of, you know, but like, yeah. I mean, that's also just in my, it gets frustrating because sometimes I'm like, yo, I know I'm fucking good. I know I'm funny. I put in the hours. I put in the work. This is fucking frustrating. This person's whack. What the fuck? Like, this isn't fair, you know? But, and I see people who like got shit way, like younger than me, or like they picked up it and whatever. And like, but I'm like, but I appreciate like having the emotional maturity. That's a big part because it's not all about talent. It's putting in the work. It's like, who can talent and produce and also is going to be nice about it and like be kind to people and like come with a positive attitude and be easy to work with. Not a lot of people. So, and like part of like that emotional maturity that I've developed over the years, the many years of doing this, is also like not taking things personally. It's hard and of course, whatever, and I'm still working on it. But yeah, like, yeah, just knowing like half of this shit has nothing to do with me. Like, you're upset. Okay, I'm sorry that, whatever. Like, you wanted to do, someone told you were funny, and then now you're seeing this fat person. Like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'm fat. Like, okay, and I'm still living your dream.
Yeah.
So, and what? Like, who cares, So, yeah. It is a whole thing.
Yeah,
How come you
absolutely.
don't take the fucking, what is it, the Iglesias route? I'm fluffy. It's a tigre
Oh,
built a
the-
whole
the-
fucking thing about that.
I'm sure people say kind of the wild shit to him too. And yeah. I'm sure like I actually worked on something with him. It was
Really?
I worked on he doesn't know who I am, but I was writing for this TV show.
What you say? He was
called-
annoying? That's what you said?
No, he doesn't know who I am. 'Cause
Oh,
I was a
I thought
writer.
you said it was annoying.
No. He doesn't know who I am. I was a
got
writer.
Got you.
It was really interesting because it was like, that show where they have, it's like a screen or like a wall, and there's like somebody here, and it's like three.
Oh, yeah, like a dating show, like
the
a dating show.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
worked
yeah.
on that.
Got it.
The celebrity
That's
one.
just still around?
No, it was for one season.
Okay.
Because that's just like from the...
Yeah,
So it used to be in the
70s.
70s, and then they
Yeah.
rebooted it during the pandemic, and then it had one season, and Gabriel Iglesias was on it. So it was celebrity. So it's like, not only was it like they can't see, but we also have to like guess. And it was really interesting to see because he was just very like, he's just like, I mean, there was just this one person who was like, yeah, I'm a nutritionist. He's like, no, like, I have my thing. Like, I can't date anybody who's even a little bit health conscious because
shit.
it's going to bring problems. And I'm like, I understand what he means. Like, he's like,
He knows what
he's already
Yeah.
probably been through something where somebody's like, you needed this, you needed that, you needed this, you needed that. And he just like wants to live his life.
Right. Someone who tried to fix him.
Someone tried to fix him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like, he's someone who's embraced it and whatever, but I'm sure people say wild shit to him. And I'm sure like, just that thing, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he has a fucking hard time too. Still.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he hurts too.
Yeah, of
everybody's
course.
human.
Everyone's
goddammit.
human, yeah.
All this fucking thick skin shit. Yeah, I get it. Some people take it better than others, but in the end of the day, you take enough bashes, it's gonna penetrate one way or the other.
Yeah, of course. And like this, or like, yeah, this past week or something, I was just really depressed. I'm like in a lot of debt. It's really bad. I'm so stressed out. Whatever. I'm like trying to put my podcast like on YouTube, editing it myself, all this stuff. I'm trying to put our thing on YouTube Shorts, figuring out YouTube Shorts and all this stuff. We put one clip out on YouTube Shorts. We get a comment from @RussianBot that someone's like,
At Russian bot.
yeah, literally a Russian bot. That's like, you're not gonna make it to 40 if you don't lose the weight. And I'm just like, your lips to God's ears, baby. Like, I hope so. Like,
Jesus Christ.
I hope I'm like, I don't want to post a suicidal joke, but I'm also like, but I also hope I'm not doing this shit at 40.
That shit just
Yeah.
got mad real.
I know, but I'm like, God damn, like, fuck you.
Yeah, people
How'd
are
you find
fucking...
my video?
Fucking Russian bot.
yeah, I
Fuck
know,
you,
like-
Russian bot.
Did you subscribe, you stupid bitch?
I know, right? You're doing the wrong thing.
Yo.
Damn. Do you think there are a lot of comics in depression?
Oh yeah, I mean that's like a whole subgenre of comedy is like mental health. I think that it's so much vulnerability, and but like, and you have to have processed things for it to be funny. So it's like, yeah, like I feel like I just feel like in general a lot of people have depression, but I feel like if you want to do this like professionally, you have to like have some kind of something because you're talking, yeah, you got to put yourself out there. You got to be like, okay, let's go, keep going, you know what I mean? Yeah, so definitely like a lot of my friends have depression, like are medicated, are this or that, like you have like,
Damn.
I think more that you see yourself often, you see yourself and you see, you know what I mean? To be a good comedian, like you have to really like be conscious and self-aware in a way that maybe other professions or other art forms can help you hide. This one is you. So you really gotta.
You are
Not only that, you are trying to make other people have a good time and laugh, and you're dying inside. That shit's pretty tough.
Well, you work on it, and but yeah, I mean, you got to think about it, right? Like a good singer, they have backup dancers, they have a DJ, they have this, they have sets, they have sound design, they have whatever.
Dancing.
A good good comedian, it's just them and a mic for an hour at least. Ugh. So, I mean, it's good, but it's like you gotta you're being vulnerable. So you gotta have worked through that stuff. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think, you just can't hide as much.
What was your original source of inspiration to pursue or chase comedy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I always liked comedy. I wanted to do production and film and I always loved film and TV. And yeah, it just started off as a hobby. It started off as a hobby, and then I got deeper, and now I can't get out.
I'm too far gone.
I'm too gone, and I tried to quit 8 times, and I just couldn't.
I gotta see this thing through now.
Well, yeah, no, I'm damn, I really got no nose. So yeah, it started off in I guess the inspiration. You see other people. You just see people doing exciting things and funny things, and I mean, works. I have so many Jeff Foxworthy and the blue collar tour is really funny, and I always loved that. Ron White was my favorite one, and then
it's a cigar one, right?
Yeah, Ron White. He's a cigar guy.
He's funny.
Cigar. Yeah. He's funny. Seeing women. Seeing Wanda Sykes. I used to watch. But then also Tina Fey shows. Every woman that did comedy was a millennial, is obsessed with Tina Fey and read her biography and whatever. But it's also high jokes per minute. There's a bunch of stuff. And then even I really, even that movie, I'm sure you saw, it's Dominican Independent Nueva York.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Nueva of very
specific.
The guy that
came from DR.
Yeah.
Damn, that's old school.
Yeah, that's old school. But even that is satirizing this immigrant dream or the American dream.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, I know. And I was just telling somebody about the movie Sankey Panky.
Yeah. It's another Dominican movie.
Another Dominican movie about the real guy, real guys. It's women do it too, but it's a lot of guys that, they hang around hotels or they work in hotels, in resorts, and then try to sleep with women to be house husbands and be like paid off and stuff, and they'll sleep with old ladies and all this stuff. But they're trying to get on 90 Day Fiance. Jesus Christ! Like the level of thirst there, I have never seen. Yeah. So, but even that is like such a specific, comedy. It's so funny because like all the guys look like shit, but I mean they're not hot, which is fine. But then like. This one guy's really trying to get with an old white lady to like, but like the woman at his like job likes him and he might be falling in love with her, but no, he has to stay on the past. But it's like, but the woman that loves him is like this beautiful, like curvaceous with huge titties and a big fat ass and like skinny ass waist and long hair. I'm like, and this guy looks like a toe. And all right, dog. Whatever.
It's a tale as old as time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was your inspiration.
So I'm like, I need to make that for Dominican women. I need to look like a toe and go there and like my fucking. Yes.
Yeah, that is wild. So your current project is your podcast. That's your current baby, right? If you had to look back and talk to yourself like when you first got into comedy and all that kind of stuff, do you think your younger self would be excited to be where you're at like now creative wise?
Probably, yeah.
So then you over here.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. That's
I'm like, yeah, which is a
that's
good,
a win.
yeah.
That's then that's the win. That's one win.
Hell yeah.
I got a few wins, but yeah, no.
I like the question you asked the other week. to our other guest
Are
about.
my titties real? Yeah.
That's the next question. What about
They're
your
not. I'm kidding. I took my tax return to DR.
That's why you on debt.
Yeah,
That's why you in debt.
yeah.
I'll drop the name of the doctor.
That's why you in debt.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, what about your future self? What do you think your future self is going to tell your current self right now?
Yeah, well, fucking, let me tell you. I hope my future self is like, oh, why'd you worry so much? It was right around the
Hell
corner.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, you gotta just keep on. Oh, you were so silly for stressing. I can't believe you were stressing. Your shit is gonna be so perfect now. That's what I hope my future self.
She just told you that right now. She just told you that.
She's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. No, shit is really gonna pop. You know, Amex is gonna drop whatever shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
Chase is gonna forgive you, and everything's gonna be good, and you're gonna get your sky miles back, and you're gonna see your lash guy your gay Nepalese lash guy. You're gonna be able to see him, and you're gonna be able to see your laser hair removal Russian lady, and the Dominican girl that does your nails that you're beefing with right now. Like, she's gonna.
Shit is getting real out there.
Everyone's gonna take
You sure you don't got no
back.
mobsters calling your phone?
I know. That's why I got shit. That's why I got scared. I'm like, fuck, they found you.
How'd they find me?
Is that my phone?
But they know I'm in the Heights.
That's why you got off on the wrong stop to throw them off.
Yeah. You gotta throw them off your scent a little bit. Yeah.
Yo, that is way too funny.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
a joke. It was a joke.
You know, we'll start off with that. We'll start off with Dre,
Yeah, straight.
and we'll move.
Dre, start us off. Your last show.
Dre's just my brother. What are you?
Is he really your brother, or is it like
Cousin.
a
Cousin.
okay, cousin?
My cousin.
Okay. I don't
Why we don't look alike?
No, I don't know. Primos con primos. You know, I don't know what's going on. And we're in the Heights, so.
No, like biological cousin.
Yeah, okay. You know, Dominicans like to inbreed. I'm just
No, primo say primo.
No.
What people don't know is that people accidentally inbreed because their grandparents will have like 20 fucking offspring.
accident.
Secret families.
So that's why you gotta know who's
yeah.
your primo and who's your.
Yeah, well, I just stay away from Dominican men. So.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm not Dominican at all. So.
Yeah. So you got tricked. So, Dre, what are your words?
Everything will be fine.
Everything will be
Everything, I
fine.
promise you.
Okay,
I
well, is
see
that
the
what
drive.
Oh, okay.
I see
Oh,
the
that's
drive.
what you feel about me. Not
I'm
about
saying it for
yourself.
both of us,
For
because
both of
clearly,
us.
I'm saying it for both of us. Clearly, Mobster's calling me.
Mobster's calling
You
me.
got your hair removal lady, whatever it is that's chasing you.
No,
I get it.
she's got. I just haven't seen her in a while,
Alright,
and I know
alright.
she misses me,
Alright.
and I miss Irina, the woman who
Shout out to
bullied
Irina.
me to, lasering my booty hole. I wasn't
Sounds
gonna
very
do that.
Russian.
Very Russian. She's like, that's not sexy. And I'm telling you, like, opening my coochie. She's like, and then she's taking FaceTime calls like, hey, what's up?
my
Oh, wow.
Not while she's in my booty hole, but I'm in bra and panties.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But I haven't seen her, guys, and I miss
Okay.
her. But every time it's $200, so which is
damn.
not bad for
It's not
laser
bad
for your whole body to get
200?
lasered. Touch my
good.
arm. I was a Dominican woman. That's
That was
smooth.
2 months ago?
No, this is I did like 12 sessions, but I need
12?
a touch up.
Oh.
And I need to see her again. But $200 for laser. It's tough.
Damn.
It's tough.
Shout out to hair removal.
So it's to show. So I'll be seeing. I hope. Yeah,
You'll be
you're
seeing
saying
her
it's gonna be
soon.
fine.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
It's gonna be
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
fine.
fine.
I see your drive.
You see my drive?
You good.
Okay, good.
I gotta let you touch me in my heart today. I'm rooting for you all the fucking way. I swear every
You're
show
like,
you
I've
just
never rooted for anyone more.
Word. Oh, fuck that. Hell yeah.
Yo, Milly, thank you so much
Yeah.
You're fucking awesome.
for coming through.
Is that
real.
your word to me?
No.
It's like, she's on the edge.
I'm
We gotta help her.
I'm shifting from Dre to you.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it was. I'm shifting to you. What are your last call for words?
Okay, I know I'm like in it, so whatever. But you know, if you're worrying about trying something or want to put yourself out there, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And then second best time is today.
That's great.
So put yourself out there and do your thing. And, you know, maybe have a savings account. Have a savings account. Just be really aggressive about savings. It'll get depleted anyway. But, you know, you always want like $20,000.
But it's part of the grind.
It's part of the grind.
Part of the grind.
Yeah.
You'll look back one day and laugh.
Well, you know, listen. I'm laughing now. Laughing. You know, at myself. And, okay.
You got your process.
Laugh so you don't cry, of course. Yeah.
Lovely lady. Hey, lovely Haydee, please. What would be your last call for?
Got us all fucked up.
Yeah. Thank you for coming through and for sharing.
Of course.
And we've been staring at the seeds we've been planting really hard and being frustrated as well.
Yes.
And so it's always, I feel like a reminder to just be like, okay, just keep watering the plant. And just keep talking nice to the plant because it's gonna sprout.
Yeah.
Yours is already like a sapling.
yeah.
Like you're a tree. You're a tree.
Yeah.
You done some shit.
Yeah.
You
You're a
don't
tree.
downplay. You done some shit.
You know, but it's a tree in winter. I feel like the leaves
The
are
bark is
spring.
there.
Spring is around the corner.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Buddhist. I don't know
Okay.
if so in Buddhism they say winter always turns to spring. It never goes back to winter. It doesn't go winter back to winter. It goes winter always turns to spring. So but I'm in winter right now.
The little buds are coming. The buds are coming.
The buds are coming.
Yeah,
The buds are
yeah,
coming.
yeah. You got this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the leaves, the fruits, all that shit comes
Yeah, thank you.
after.
Thank you. I love that.
Yeah, whatever, motherfucker.
I took my antidepressant pills today, so I'm the serotonin is producing. Yeah.
Wait, really take antidepressants?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, get on it. Because when something traumatic, it's the thing of like the your brain gets damaged when you go through trauma, whatever, and it doesn't produce those the serotonin that makes you happy. And you know, the downside to antidepressants is that you can't come, but if you're a guy,
you can't bust a nut.
you can't bust a nut. But if you're a guy, not terrible. So I dated someone who was on antidepressants, and it was awesome for me. And I was like, this is
Serotonin
rad.
levels.
Yeah.
The serotonin, I mean, no, he was extremely depressed, but we stopped having sex when I was tired, which was great. So, not because he came in like a second, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, if you're a guy and you're on the fence, like, you know,
Oh shit! So I might have to jump back.
You might have to jump in. Yeah, exactly.
When I was taking them, I was in rehab, so I wasn't having sex.
Oh well, you know, listen.
I'm gonna have to call my doctor back.
Jump on it.
I have to call my doctor back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I expected this conversation to go.
Yeah.
And it's quite a reminder that sometimes allowing yourself the space to take a lot of these thoughts and manifest them into words, into form, and just share, even, you know, verbalize and vocalize, how that in itself does create like that kind of therapeutic experience. Because there are times that when, as I mentioned, I get upset that damn things aren't hitting. I feel, you know, oh, we're producing good quality stuff and all this kind of things.
Yeah.
But or like not even stuff not hitting. It's not even knowing where to start or like what to do and all that kind of shit. So frustration begins to build in, and you're like, all right. And I've kind of now just allowed, for my sake of well-being, like just allowed space to just be, right? Like that's all right, cool. Just continue going through the motions and doing what you do, and allow things to fall into place. Because yeah, you know, I would love to just fucking sit down and have a conversation with you, and that be the entire exchange. But as soon as you walk out, I'm tearing all this shit down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking edit this goddamn episode. I'm gonna have to do all the social media stuff, and all that shit just like starts piling up. And that's now that I've kind of learned it, right? Like by just doing. And so it's more reminding myself that there's a lot of learning in the doing. And so for me at least, to continue to just do and just allow myself to be. And that's what brought me peace of mind. Yes, there are everyday life reminders. Absolutely. Trust me. I hear you verbalizing everything and I'm like, wow. Them Amex letters do not stop.
Yeah. They keep emailing me.
And I'm like, but the fact of the reminder, like how we can take our life experiences and transform them into levity. I think it's also a reminder of that there's so much beauty in the life experience, and just allowing that moment to seep in as well. So
yeah, and this is why I also say, like, it's good to do something that you like, because it takes a long time and you want to be enjoying it. If you're doing things just to get whatever, but it's like, I know I was like, I'm in it, whatever, but it's like, I do really love comedy. And that's also why I'm, focusing on the pod. I love podcasts in general. That's how I get my news. That's how I consume pop culture. That's how I consume stuff. I enjoy it as a medium, and I like it, and I want to see growth in whatever. And I've seen success, you know what I mean? So, but it's like, you have to be happy doing it. Like, and when I have a good comedy show, like, when I have a show that I fucking kill at, like kill, the feeling can't be replicated by anything that I've ever, it's like, better than an orgasm, better than, getting like recognized at work, better than this,
like winning a championship.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, so it's like, or like, you know what I mean, where people are like iffy, and then seeing, the face, the brightness light up in the people, you know what I mean? And that's also been the joy of doing comedy in Spanish, of like, I talk a lot about like being fat and like whatever, and being like a hoe and what, you know what I mean? And just seeing these Latin women, there's no like body positivity movement hasn't hit Latin America yet. They're not like talking about that. They're still like, it's still behind in a lot of ways. So seeing the light like turn on these women's eyes, and people wanting to take pictures of me after and tagging me and all that stuff, like, that's like, oh, I gotta keep, I gotta keep, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, if you're doing this to make money, whatever, it's kind of like, you're gonna have a rough ride, but you gotta have something in your heart that you want people to hear, and then you have to enjoy doing it, and just take out the shit that you don't enjoy doing, because it's gonna be it's a marathon. And then, that's it. So that's also where it's like, well, what do I like doing? What do I not like doing? And I kind of, because it's like, like I was saying with the shows, like, I like going to shows, but I'm like, if it's like hanging out with my dog or going to shows, like, I don't know. So yeah, that's my thing, is like, you got to do it and all that stuff, but also like have fun and enjoy, because when it does eventually become your job, which it will. This is my friend who's a celebrity makeup artist told me this. When your passion becomes your paycheck, you always need a creative outlet, to get it out. But also, like, it's a whole different game. So you're going to look back and be like, oh, remember when I was just having fun and doing this, and like the stakes were so much lower and we could experiment. You're not doing that when you know what I mean?
No, it's real talk. And I thank you for all the life lessons.
Absolutely.
Like, literally, that's what it's been. How old are you? How old
Oh, really?
If you don't mind me asking. If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 35.
It's
young.
It's fucking.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay, I still got life to live.
Yeah, you got some
A lot of
life.
life to live. A lot of life.
I feel anyway. Redact that. Bleep it out. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
No, whatever.
No, I'm always curious, because I'm always curious of people's stages in life, and
Oh yeah. No, I like to have trigger warnings for people's age. Like if I hear, sometimes I'll hear someone, this girl, and they're like, how old is she? 23. Okay, that's the fucking like. If I was 27 talking like that, no, I'm 35. I've been doing this for a while, so.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, when I get reminded, you're about to be 40. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this shit is crazy. I'm like, what? But, I feel like I'm about to
40's young.
hit my stride.
Yeah.
Earlier
Exactly.
I was like, literally earlier today, I was talking to my boy in the street. And he was like, no, tú sabes que ya vamos a estar en los 40 y estamos viejos. I'm like, no. I feel great, brother. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So, but you've led a substantial amount of life in a short period of time, and so I'm just like, oh, that's wild. But good for you.
And to Mobster, if you're listening, I still have life to live. Please spare me.
Fucking Mobster and Russian Bot 35.
Please.
Russian Bot 35, you could eat it.
Let us live.
Arena.
Arena.
Let us live. Let us live.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
This has been a ride.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I appreciate you taking the time, and the
Thank
effort,
you.
and making the trip, and because I know you're coming deep from Beacon, so I appreciate
Any
it.
upcoming
Thank
shows that you have?
Yeah, actually, I have a show.
Outside of Denver.
Outside of Denver.
I have a show September 7th in Yankee Stadium in the Hard Rock Cafe in Yankee Stadium. What the fuck? I think it's going to be in Spanish, so you guys should come through
Hell yeah.
in Spanish at the Hard Rock. I got a few other shows too, but show at Caveat in the Lower East Side on the 5th of September. I'm out here, dog.
Yeah, you grinding.
We're
You
grinding.
hitting these streets.
We're hitting these streets.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm an inspiration for all women who have ADHD. You can do it. But you will take everyone on a ride.
Absolutely. Buckle up.
Jizzle,
Yes.
Milly, Haydee, this is Ron Kame. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Yes. Ooh, we did it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.